While Marshmallon is in your monster zone, your opponent cannot target monsters other than Marshmallon for attacks. That's on this list at number 10, ahead of like Pot of Greed, Snatch Steal. If you guys remember, a few months ago, we did this really fun video from this list that I found, and it's on the website, the top 10s. And how this website works is that anyone, at least to my knowledge, anyone can make a list as long as they have an account, and then anyone else can vote on the list or add their own entries. And in the case of this list, it was called the best Yu-Gi-Oh! Spell cards. Now, there were a couple funny things about this. First off, there were several trap cards on it, which doesn't make any sense, but also, and maybe you can't tell because on the number 1 and number 2 spot, those seem like legitimate choices, but as you scroll down, you realize number 4 is Swords of Revealing Light, just ahead of Pot of Greed, and then right after Pot of Greed is Ancient Rules. So clearly the people that are voting on these things are not very competitive players, which I think we can guess. I mean, just in general, most Yu-Gi-Oh! Players over the course of all Yu-Gi-Oh! Players are going to be casual players because not everyone goes competitive. This list was made, let's see, 4 years ago, and it has over 1,000 votes. So throughout that video, I kept saying, well, first off, I don't know when this was posted, and second off, I wonder how many people have actually voted on this. We don't know the exact number, but at least 1,000 people have voted on these 50 cards, which is pretty good. That's a sizable amount, because one of the things that I was worried about when I was doing that video was, okay, if it's only like 10 people voting on these cards, well then yeah, obviously it's going to be really screwed up. But if it's at least 1,000 votes, then I mean, it makes a little bit of a difference there. But I noticed that after the video was posted, I got a whole bunch of comments from people saying like, oh, you didn't realize that it was posted at this time with this many votes. And exciting news, I have another one of these lists, and I thought it'd be kind of fun to look at it. So this one, and I'm at the bottom here so you guys can't see the top results, although I've seen the number 1 result. Other than that, though, I haven't looked at any of them. And this one is called Annoying Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards. So it's like the top 10 annoying Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards. I don't know why this website is called the top 10s, because all of these do top 50 and then even beyond that, actually. Originally made 5 years ago, and it has been sort of untainted by my audience. So nobody that's currently watching this video, at least at the time of filming this video, has voted on any of these cards. So it's completely clean. It's just casuals voting on casual cards. And it's pretty funny. It has, once again, just like the other one, over 1,000 votes. So at least some people took the time to add some cards to this list and vote on them. Anyway, yeah, let's just start reading. So we have Crimson Blader, Heavy Storm, Trito, which is totally awesome. Makes sense. We have... And this is another example of where it's setting us up for failure, like just a really weird situation where Pot of Greed is number 47, which means when you're looking at this list, every card higher than 47 has to be better than Pot of Greed, which is pretty tough because the next two, so Afterglow, I legitimately do not know what that means. Shuffle this card into the deck during your next draw phase, reveal your normal draw, and if it's an Afterglow, inflict 8,000 damage. How many people voted on this card that were like, you know, I keep losing in the anime duels that I play to Afterglow? That, I guess that card would be pretty annoying. Double or Nothing is like a really bad trap card, I believe. Stardust Dragon, okay, that's pretty legit. So this was made 5 years ago, so it would have been well after when Stardust Dragon would have been like in its prime, because that would have been like 5 years after that, because Syncos are 10 years old. Anyway, Cloud Castle, I use Blue Eyes, and if you get out Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon and Tribute for Cloud Castle, you just get a Spirit back, then overlay for True King of All Calamities, and it's basically game from there. What's interesting about that comment in particular, and what you can kind of see from this list, is that even though technically this list was made 5 years ago, the original list, you can still keep adding cards, you can still keep voting on cards. That combo, while it isn't like super recent, I mean, True King of All Calamities is only like a year and a half old, so I guess almost 2 years old. So kind of interesting. We have Shape Snatch. I see there's some rank 10 Yu-Gi-Oh fans here. That's great. Burden of the Mighty. Cripples all of your strong cards. The stronger the card, the more attack it loses. It drives me insane every time my friend uses this card. Honestly, rank monsters aren't affected by this since it only affects level monsters. That seems like it's like a... Why would you vote that this card is annoying and then write like a counter to it? I have it and I love it, but it's also so annoying when someone else plays it. Okay, if any of you guys are watching this video that voted on Burden of the Mighty, I'm going to blow your mind. Just activate MST. It's pretty simple. Right next to it. I love the juxtaposition of things on this list. It's always so hilarious when you see like a legitimately powerful card right next to a terrible card. So right next to Burden of the Mighty, we have Evil Storm Exciton Knight. Not nearly as many comments. People seem to not have a lot to say about Exciton Knight. We have Yatagaratsu, Trishula, okay, Magician of Black, Okay, just so everyone's aware, when they write Magician of Black Chaos, they are not referring to Dark Magician of Chaos. They are referring to Magician of Black Chaos, which is the level 8 non-effect ritual monster, which is ranked 10 higher than Pot of Greed. Gravity Bind, okay, that's fair. Level of Area B, sure. Ordeal of the Traveler. I talked about this in one of the videos. I think it was like the middle school metagame video where I talked about things that were really popular in my middle school. And this is one of the cards that I used to think was really powerful. I think a lot of people did. When you play, one of the things that makes this card so powerful when you're playing on the schoolyard with your friends in 5th or 6th grade is that for the most part, because you guys aren't getting new cards very often, you already know your opponent's like deck, so you don't really value information very much. So in the case of Ordeal the Traveler, it's almost not so much like, oh, if you're the attacking player, I get to see what's in my opponent's hand, which is why the card is bad, but it's just like, oh man, I'll never get the chance to attack unless I'm lucky, which makes the card really powerful. Like this person comments, yeah, I nearly destroyed you. Oh wait, I have to guess what card type you have? Fine, monster, wrong. It's rough out there in the casual scape. Revival Jam will always just reform itself. And did he tag himself there? You see that his name is on there? Why was that like so insightful that he's like quoted? Oh my gosh, I have to know what Trainerd6 says about Revival Jam. Oh, he says it always. Mirror Force, that's fair. Lots of comments to Mirror Force, and that makes sense. Like, I don't even think that one is worth, like, faulting these people for. I think, at least in the time that this was written, Mirror Force was still not a great card 5 years ago, but it was just off being a great card. Like, people played that card. I mean, you still see it occasionally nowadays. It seems some playing, like, trap decks like Paleozoic Frogs. Usually not the original Mirror Force, but, like, Stormy Mirror Force and stuff, but I can understand that one. Honest, sure. Call the Haunted, really? Why are people so mad at Call the Haunted? Snatch Steal, okay, that makes sense. Wall of Revealing Light. See, once again, the juxtaposition is perfect. We have Snatch Steal, one of the most annoying cards to play against, a super powerful card that came back for one format. If you guys think of cards like Solemn Judgment, a Monster Reborn, and Regeki, old school cards that were banned and then Konami tried out to see if we could have them at one copy, all of those cards stayed in the game, unlike Snatch Steal, which came back for one format and everyone complained about it, and it was way too sacky, so Konami had to take out of the game. Anyway, that card is next to Wall of Revealing Light, which while it has been on the Forbidden Limited list, it's not really because like the card itself is good, it's more for the interaction with Life Equalizer, but whatever. Judgment Dragon, sure. Scapegoat, really, and look at this guy wrote out a whole movie script. Opponent, my brother. Haha, I attack you directly with my blue eyes white dragon. Game over, boy. Gee, it seems like you activated. Okay, this is actually too cringy to read. I can believe that someone wrote this, but also I can't believe that someone that is on the Top 10's website took the time to write out this whole like anime style battle with his brother, like in the comment section of one of the entries on this list. Not even like a top entry, just like, people amaze me. Too much free time. Self-destruct button, that one's pretty annoying. Change of Heart, Dark Master, Exodia. Isn't that what they call like the fake card? Yeah, that's definitely what they call the fake card. Oh, I have this card, by the way. The most powerful guardian with his infinity dark power can destroy all enemy and win the duel immediately. Yeah, if you're watching this, like some fan gave this to me a couple events ago, earlier. I think it might have been the WCQ, maybe the Y6 New Jersey. But I own this card. It's a pretty funny, like, fake card. Like, it's, I don't know how, something about the Forbidden One, at least whatever the Japanese text is, translates badly into Dark Master. So that's, I'm assuming why all these Exodia cards are called Dark Master. That's pretty funny that apparently this fake card is so prominent in the metagame of the people writing these lists that is 23 on this list. That is actually mind-blowing. Crush Card Virus, sure. Swords of Revealing Light, man, they really hate Swords of Revealing Light because it's 21 on this list, but on this list it's number 4. So they're saying that of all the spell cards ever released, or even all spell cards released up until 4 years ago, Swords of Revealing Light is the 4th best one, and then on this list it's the 21st most annoying one. So clearly people really hate that card. Wind Up Rabbit, Rescue Rabbit. Number one on the One Sound on arc. Okay, so in terms of Rescue Rabbit and Wind Up Rabbit, you have to keep in mind that when this was written, those cards were pretty popular. Maybe this a little bit outdated, those cards, by like a couple months, but in general, those cards are really expensive and really annoying. Number 101, Silent Honor Arc, absolute cancer. This card is the most hated, I'm assuming that's what it means, hated Exceed monster if you look up to rank 4. When you summons a good monster as strong as Shooting Star Dragon and your opponent summon Arc to the field, then he/her can easily steal your card unless you put any set cards to avoid it. Wow, and then it looks like someone replied to it and said, all you need is Heraldry Record, which would negate the activation effect and destroy that card. Funny story. Well, two funny stories. First off, Heraldry Record actually was a suggested tech pick for the 2014 WCQ, specifically for that interaction. No one really played it, but it was like something that got hyped up. It was probably on like a Market Watch. I don't think John was making videos at the time, but I'm sure it was on a Market Watch somewhere. That card was hyped up. Other story, the first time that someone ever summoned a number 101 Silent Honor Arc on me was on Dueling Network, and I legitimately thought that it was a fake card because of how good it seemed. Like, I know it sounds dumb in like hindsight, but this card was like, just keep in mind that one of like the thing that this power cup was like Black Ship of Corn, which required the monster to be less than 2100. And not that that card's like bad or anything, but it's just like, I can remember, I've been playing this game long enough to where I remember that a good combo used to be using Maystroke to flip a monster face down, and then using Photon Pap the Operative to flip the card face up, make it lose 800 attack and attack over it. That's like a -2 just to get rid of one monster. It's crazy. Anyway, moving on, we have Waboku, Relinquished, which if you remember, I probably would have made fun of this card at any other time, but recently on a stream, we lost to Relinquish because I didn't realize that it had a reflect attack, or a reflect attack, where if you attack this thing while it has an equipped monster, you take the damage. I didn't actually realize that, so I lost. Fiber Jar, that's fair. Draining Shield, an amazing card. I'm so glad I have two. Pretty good. It's a useful trap. I only have one of these, but that's all I need because it's my Roma deck. Whenever I gain life points, I can destroy one monster in the field. And you know what? That's fair. This first comment about aromas, like that's a pretty fair combo, I guess. Penguin Soldier, MST. Wow, this one has a picture. Do they all have? No, just Blackluster Soldier has a picture. That card's really good. I'm not gonna read these stories. Konami made a huge mistake bringing this guy back to 1. I wonder if PlayStation Archfiend knows that it's at 3 copies per deck right now, and that basically no one is playing it. Man, that's funny. Just everything in hindsight is hilarious. Marshmallon glasses, but not Marshmallon. Do you guys know? Do you guys understand what Marshmallon glasses does? I'll look that one up for you guys. While Marshmallon is in your monster zone, your opponent cannot target monsters other than Marshmallon for attacks. That's on this list at number 10. Ahead of like Pot of Greed, Snatch Steal. Oh my gosh. Oh, we have normal Exodia. So, who voted for the Dark Master Exodia if they're going to also vote for regular Exodia? Interesting. Neospatian Gramble, Chaos Emperor Dragon, sure. Scrap Iron... Scrap Iron Scarecrow right after Chaos Emperor Dragon, Envoy of the End. Cannot be used more than once per turn. You cannot activate a card the same turn you set it. I wish people understood this. Oh. Okay, so it seems like maybe this card was voted so highly because people thought that you could just infinitely negate attacks, which isn't how it works. To be fair, when I was a kid, I thought that's how it worked too. Magic Cylinder, of course. I mean, it's basically New Pot of Greed. Regeki, Tour Guide, so you can really... That's... Oh. Did you guys just see that the number 2 spot is Marshmallon? Oh my gosh. I was like, it was funny that Marshmallon glasses was so high on this list, but I didn't realize, like I said, I only saw the number 1 spot on this list. I did not realize, and I never could have predicted, that Marshmallon was like the number 2 most annoying card to play against. What does the world come to? Anyway, I was going to say before I caught wind of the Marshmallon that by the fact that Tour Guide is number 3 on this list, you can definitely like sort of date when this was made. I mean, we already know it was like 4.5 years ago, but yeah, that'd be when Tour Guide was like super expensive. So I just can't get past the Marshmallon, guys. Like it's just so funny. Love this card. Every time it is attacked, lose 1,000 life points, add Marshmallon glasses, and you have to attack it. That guy probably voted for Marshmallon glasses. And this person adds, you don't lose 1,000 every time, and the glass only makes you have to target for attack, not forced to attack. So it's like, yeah, every card seems good if you just make up like 2 effects, just like the God cards. And then the number 1 is Monster Reborn, which while I don't think this card is necessarily the most annoying card to play against, I know, like, I understand why this card is picked. Like, if you go to this list, like, clearly Monster Reborn, just in general, even more so than Pot of Greed, I would say, for some reason, Monster Reborn, at least on the people that are voting on these lists, seems to be more iconic than Pot of Greed. The most iconic card in Yu-Gi-Oh! To these people, to these, like, probably 2,000 people that are voting on this list, if that, really do hate Monster Reborn and also think it's like the best card in the game, which is kind of crazy. And Regeki is pretty high on the list too, but man, Marshmallon, who would have known? I don't know if they know, like, even back in the day, just for like some quick context here, even back in the day, Marshmallon was not a good card. Like, no one really played it. So it's just pretty funny to me that it's so high on this list. Not only is Marshmallon high on this list, but also the Marshmallon glasses. Just what a world we live in. Anyway, that is going to wrap up today's video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. As always, or at least in the other case of this type of video, I will put the link to this list in the description below if you want to go mix up the votes a little bit. Last time you guys really surprised me there. I don't know if it's necessarily cards on here that need to be higher on the list. I mean, obviously Pot of Greed should be higher. I just think it's funny that like Marshmallon is ranked so highly, not only the card itself, but also the equip spell for it. Like, whoever's writing this list, it must be like Marshmallon format. Like, we have Goat format and then we have Marshmallon format, and this is written in Marshmallon format. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you later. If you want me to review more lists like this, feel free to send them my way. I will say that there is like one guy out there that is still making lists to this day, and they're all like really bad lists. Like, don't get me wrong, but it's just like one guy writing articles, and I don't really just want to bully like one person. He's clearly just someone out of the metagame. That's totally fine. He can do his thing. I think what's funny about these lists in particular is that there's like thousands of people voting on them, which makes it even more sweet that like stuff like Marshmallon is at number 2, as opposed to just anyone can write an article like that guy and just put like Marshmallon at number 1. But it's way funnier if more people are voting on it. But thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you later. Goodbye.